fellow quilters, welcome back to my channel, Pages and Stitches. That's spelled pages, the number 3 stitches, and that's the same here as it is on Instagram. My name is Kelly, and I'm finally here to give you my next Quilters Corner update. Today is Tuesday, July 4th, so it's the holiday. It's late in the day, so I'm actually trying to hurry up and get this filmed before fireworks start going off. If you start hearing pops in the background, it's, well, what are you gonna do? So let me start by apologizing for the delay. I'm sure you can hear it in my voice. I had intended to film this video like 3 days ago, and I got really sick. I had filmed my floss tube the morning of the 1st. I went out to go shopping, go to lunch, etc. By the time I got home, I wasn't feeling great, and I just kind of slept the rest of the day away, and I resolved I was going to film this the next morning, which was the morning of my 34th birthday. And then when I woke up that morning, I was sick as a dog. So it didn't happen. Filming didn't happen. And yes, I was sick in bed all day on my 34th birthday, and that was on the 2nd. And then the 3rd, pretty much the same. Today I feel better, but I don't sound better. I'm still pretty froggy and nasally. If this kind of voice grosses you out, I do apologize, because I know it's, I mean, it is what it is. I'm gonna edit out everything that I can in terms of like the sniffles and the coughing and the yada yada yada. But I am mostly back on the mend. I do feel a lot better. So finally I resolved to wash my hair, put on a face of makeup, and just film this dang video regardless of what I sound like. So I'm so sorry it took me so long to do this. As I said, today is Tuesday, July 4th. It's America's birthday. And I am bringing you Quilters Corner update number 20. So, this is going to be my June wrap up. Thank you so much for being here. If this is your first time stopping by my channel or checking out a Quilters Corner video, thank you so much for giving it a try. I really appreciate it. These are the lesser loved of my 2 videos that I make. So I know that if you're here, you really enjoy either what I'm creating or the hobby, or you're just humoring me because you feel sorry for me. Either way, I'm grateful you're here. I'm grateful that you're watching. Like I said, I also do floss tube videos, so if you're a cross stitcher as well, feel free to go check those videos out. I do one update in floss tube and one update in Quilters Corner every month, and my floss tube is already posted. I got that one in the can before I started feeling bad, so that one came out already. But regardless, either way, I'm glad you're here. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. Sorry for making you wait, but you know, you make plans and then life gives your plans the middle finger. So there we are. Okay, as per usual, we're gonna start with my reading update. If you had already seen this part in my floss tube, skip past a few minutes. It's the same books. So the pages and stitches of my YouTube handle represents my 3rd passion, which is reading. I read basically every day. So let me share with you what I read this past month. I'm going to insert some pictures here of the first 3 books that I read because I read them on my Kindle app. This is the first 3 novels of Sara Cate's Salacious Players Club series. Number 1 is Praise, number 2 is Eyes on Me, and number 3 is Give Me More. And at the time of this filming, there's 2 more. I don't know if she's going to keep writing them or if that's it, but currently there's only 2 other ones that I haven't read. It's a little left of center of the type of romance I normally read, but I did enjoy it. If you prefer more of a taboo or darker side to the genre, you might enjoy these as well. And then after I read those 3, I went back to a series I had previously started by Lucy Score. She has 2 books out already in this series. The 3rd one comes out in September. I read the first one already and talked about that in a previous video, and then I went back and read the second one called Things We Hide from the Light. Again, the author is Lucy Score. And then I'm trying to get on top of the series because number 3 comes out soon, and I want to read that one when it's ready. Okay, so I have a bunch of like fun stuff to share with you. I did actually get a lot accomplished this, or it feels like I did anyway. But before we do that, I just want to do a couple of quick shout outs. I'm always trying to draw attention to other quilters. A lot of people that I've been watching also, or at least primarily, film floss tube videos, and then like they'll put their quilting content in with their floss tube videos. So and then the 3 people I'm gonna mention film in that style. But I'm hopeful that if there's enough of us out there who encourage these people to produce more quilting content, then perhaps they'll start producing longer form quilting videos, much like myself, much like Amy of Fiber Amy, and Laura of Lolity Stitches. So the other 3 creators I want to draw attention to. The first one is a woman named Laurel, and her YouTube channel is called I Am a Stitch Nerd. And she's really cute. She's definitely very like Southern, like you can hear it in her accent, and she's very sweet. She usually has a quilting project, like a wall hanging or a mini quilt or whatever hanging behind her when she does her updates. The first half of her videos, there's all cross stitch related, and then the second half is quilting. And so I love to watch her videos because I get, you know, a little bit of everything. The next person I want to give a shout out to, I've actually previously shouted out in a floss tube video, but I want to make sure I shout her out here as well. Her name is Corinne from the channel Cory Creates. I've been watching her since her first video. I absolutely love her. She obviously stitches and quilts, and I love it when she shows off her quilts because she usually wrangles her kids and ropes them into like displaying her quilts for her or with her while she talks about them. And she's a teacher, I believe. So whenever she's talking and to them and giving them instruction, you can like hear her teacher voice come out, and I absolutely love it. It makes me giggle. And she's very, very talented. I love that she uses a lot of African prints. She is an African American, so she tries to highlight that a lot in her craft, which is very special and important. And she also I will have her Etsy shop linked down below. I think she's about to go on vacation though, so I don't know how active she's going to be right now. But she quilts and sews project bags. So if you are in the market for a beautifully and well-crafted project bag, you can check out her Etsy shop. And then the last person I want to shout out, it's really a duo, because one of them just started sewing, and I believe the other one already has experience with it, and that's going to be EJ of the Sunshine Stitchers. Of course, that's a pair of stitchers, EJ and Shelia, and I love watching them. They're a hoot and a half and usually are drinking in their videos, which means that they're constantly cracking up, and they always have like big smiles whenever they're presenting their content. But just recently, EJ started taking classes and started learning how to sew, started learning her way around a sewing machine, started learning like the terminology and different types of fabrics and different quilting techniques, and she's putting together different little projects and kind of showing off her progress, which I'm so excited for, because that means there's another creator out there, another stitcher who is falling in love with what can be done behind the pedal of a sewing machine. And quilting and using a sewing machine was my first love, so I want to send some love to their channel and to EJ especially, and some support and some encouragement so that she continues with it and falls in love with this form of creating as much as I have and as much as we all have, right? So head over to the Sunshine Stitchers channel and offer EJ some support in her sewing journey. Okay, I have one more little order of business that I want to go over before I show you my projects this month. And I wanted to give a quick update on the baby quilts that I had finished and planned to donate to my hospital system. If you are unfamiliar, I'll insert some pictures. I had been working on 6 different baby quilts using the pattern Jelly Roll Jam, the original Jelly Roll Jam pattern from Fat Quarter Shop. It's a free pattern. I will link it down below, and there is a tutorial video on YouTube. Kimberly says it's one of their most watched videos on their channel to date, so I think that's saying something on its popularity. But I had started making these quilts, these baby quilts, a while ago. I had been gifted some jelly rolls with like children's prints on them, and I knew I obviously wanted to turn it into a quilt, but I didn't necessarily have anyone or any babies in mind for them. So then I thought, well, I work for a hospital system. Why don't I just donate it to the NICU? So once I had finished all 6 and gotten them all quilted, that's what I did. I took them over to the NICU, and I met up with the charge nurse on that floor and handed them over. And I took a bunch of pictures, but I'll only post the pictures of the quilts because I did not get the permission from the people in the photos to use their faces or their names on my YouTube channel. So I'll just show you the pictures of the quilts. But regardless, I just wanted to let everybody know that those were donated. They were well received. And then in fact, my company did give me a nice little call out in our regional newsletter. They did a little pictorial on me and on my donation to the NICU department, and they basically just said, you know, thanks for caring for our tiniest Texans, which was very rewarding and very, very nice. You know, it's always nice to do something good for somebody else, but then it's also nice to be recognized for it, right? So that was a nice gift from my company back to me. Okay, let's talk about quilts, shall we? I was really super productive this month because I have not one, but 2 FFOs, 2 fully finished objects, 2 fully finished quilts. I was only anticipating 1, so that's something. And then on top of that, I have a quilt top finish because, as you can see, I have different things on my wall as I did for my last video. So let me show you my finishes before we get into whips. Okay, so for the most part, I'm going to be inserting some pictures, but I do have the actual finishes here with me. The first one I want to show you is this quilt here. This is called Meadowland. The pattern is called Meadowland from pattern designer Then Came June. And I used the fabric line Cider by Basic Gray on the front, and then the backing is from the line Nutmeg, which is also by Basic Gray, designed to complement Cider. So it's all done, it's all stitched together, and I love the way it turned out. Here it is up close. So the quilting pattern is like this big, beautiful flower, which you can kind of see, and in and among, let me see if I can find a good picture of it. In and around all the flowers is these little bees. So you can see one right there. So the fabric, or I'm sorry, the thread is like a variegated gold brown. So it goes from this like warm brown, right, to this like taupey, more sandy brown that really matches this print here. And then it goes into more of these like golden yellows. And that's the variegation of the thread, the top thread. And then the thread on the back is just, oh no, it's the same. It's the same. I wasn't sure. I thought maybe she just did a yellow, but no, she did the same variegated thread on the back. I also wanted to point out, so when I put the binding on, like, look, these little birds just kind of like their little faces just kind of showed up perfectly on the binding. Isn't that cute? Like, that was totally unintentional. It just happened. But it's really cute. And then there's one here. There's one block here where the little bee is like right in the middle. Isn't that cute? It's perfect. So Meadowland is all done, finished and quilted. That one was tons of fun to make, and the blocks are so big. So it was one of those quilts that I had started like over a year ago and then stepped away from it, and then just took way too long to get back to it. And then I was like, why did I wait so long to finish this? Because it went so fast once I actually sat down and did it. So, oh well, it's done now. And it's great, and I love it. It's a lap size quilt, and it'll probably be gifted to somebody at some point. I've kind of decided that I'm gonna, so I have a growing stack of quilts that I haven't done anything with. There's only so many blankets I can use at one time, so I'm probably gonna start gifting them out to people. You know, I don't make them to make money off of them. I make them just for the enjoyment. So now that I have like a giant stash of quilts, it's time to start sharing the love, you know what I mean? So Meadowland is probably gonna be a Christmas present for somebody. Or let me know what you got. I mean, should I do giveaways? Should I do giveaways with my finished quilts? Would you guys want that? I don't know. I mean, I would imagine if you're watching this, it's because you quilt yourself. I don't know. Let me know what you think. If you would like me to do giveaways with quilts, I would be happy to. Otherwise, I'm probably just gonna gift them to people. I don't know. Let me know what you think. So the next quilt I finished doesn't have a title as far as I'm aware. I found a pattern on Pinterest and I was like, oh, I can make that easily. It's just a jelly roll pattern. You sew strip sets, cut 60-degree triangles, and then sew the triangles back together. Easy. So that was this quilt here, which I had made using a jelly roll and fat quarter bundle set from Joann's, just like it's like a faux batik line. I say faux batik because, you know, traditional batiks, you really can't tell the difference between the right side and the wrong side. This one, it's clearly like printed on one side, so it's a faux batik. Yeah. Anyways, it's done now. And I have it right here, all quilted up. If you've been with me for a while, you may recognize this particular quilt pattern. It's got swirlies and stars all over it. And it's the same quilt pattern that was used in this quilt, which is my Oracle quilt. Using the line Oracle from Eye Candy Quilts. I had designed the quilt pattern myself, and it is a sewing themed deck of tarot cards. Very niche, but very me. So yes, whenever that one was quilted, I used the same quilting stitching as I did on this one. And so this one is like a gray, charcoal gray to black variegated thread on the top. You can really see that star there. That's really pretty. And then on the back side, it's just black. Just a black stitching. Yep. And very metallic. So, I mean, I generally like batiks because I think they're very like tie-dye and pretty. But also, a lot of people know that I love metallic fabric. I just love it. And which is part of the reason why when I saw this jelly roll and fat quarter bundle, I was like, well, you're coming home with me. I'll figure out what to do with you later, because they were just so pretty. So yeah, she is all done. Back from the quilter. I will link the Instagram of the long arm quilter I use down below. Her company name is called May We Quilt, which is a play on her own name. If you are interested, she absolutely takes orders from out of the city, out of the state. She'll work with you, and then once it's done, ship it back to you. I would imagine the cost of shipping is built into your price, your final price, but I wouldn't know for sure off the top of my head because she's just right up the road from me, so I drive. But if that's an option you wanted to explore, I will, like I said, link her Instagram so you can message her directly and work that out with her. All right, so moving right along. The next quilt that I worked on was the top that I finished. I'll insert a picture here of what the pattern looks like. It's a free pattern designed by Ruby Star Society called Favorite Sweater Quilt. And I stitched mine using the Warp and Weft line, the original Warp and Weft line, also designed by Ruby Star Society. I had I had a fat quarter bundle gifted to me, and then I used a mulberry solid as the background, and it's done. And I have it here. I have it all done. Let me try and I'll end up putting a picture in because there's no way I can show you the full thing. But I've got got all of them here. Yeah. Let me try backing up a little bit. Try backing up and standing on a stool. How about that? There you go. What do you think? I hope you can see it all because I can't see you. So, the Warp and Weft line and all of the iterations of Warp and Weft that have since come out, they're woven fabrics, meaning they're not like traditional quilting cotton. So they're a little bit more fiddly to work with. And when I got them, I didn't really know what to do with them. But then when I saw this pattern, I thought, well, of course they should be sweaters because that's kind of what they feel like, you know? Some of them really just remind me of like this one in the corner, just make me think of like fishermen, right? Like a Maine lobster fisherman, right? Or let's see. Remember that guy in Frozen? He's like, hoo-hoo, big summer blowout. This one. Right? Doesn't that make you think of him? That makes me think of him. So, yeah. All done with the quilt top, and the quilt back is here. I stitched it together. It's just this floral print. So it's like originally I thought it was a maroon. Yeah, now you can see it. Originally I thought it was a maroon with like these dots. No, those are maroon flowers, and the actual background is like dark. I think you can see it now. But regardless, I got it because these colors appear a few times in the line, the Warp and Weft line of the sweaters. So it's going in the closet and ready to be pulled out whenever my next long arm appointment comes up, which I believe is in, I don't know, like the beginning of September. It's either, yeah, it's September because I think I have another one in December, and that's what else I have for the remainder of the year, unless she calls me and says she has another opening. So there it is. That is, again, Favorite Sweater Quilt, designed by Ruby Star Society, free pattern to download. And it's also super duper simple. It's, you know, just a couple of pieces to make one block. Assembly is really easy, and then you got yourself a quilt top. So since I had 2 FFOs and a quilt top finish, I went ahead and let myself start another quilt. right? I mean, you can't enjoy your patterns unless you start them. So I had wanted to start a sampler, and I showed you guys previously the different sampler patterns that I was sort of bouncing between, and I had settled on this one here. This is a sampler called Christmas Potpourri, and this pattern is no longer available. It was created and designed by the quilters of this quilt shop, Quakertown Quilts, which was a quilt store in Friendswood, Texas, which no longer exists. So I grew up not too far from here. This was a quilt shop my mom used to go to a lot. And so this was a block of the month quilt that they had designed that she was partaking in. She said, my mom said, that it was one of the first quilts she ever made. So this particular quilt has a lot of like nostalgia for me. This picture does not do it justice because it looks very like blue and yellow and red. Whereas the quilts, like to see it in person, it's obviously very Christmassy. Like it's very like red and green and gold and cream. Like it's really pretty. This picture is crappy. Anyways, this quilt store no longer exists. So if you like this pattern, unfortunately, I can't link it down below for you to buy it. And that's probably a good thing because this pattern is very obviously handwritten. Like some little lady typed it up on Word, probably like one keystroke at a time, you know, just hunt and peck method. And the reason why I say that is because it is very poorly written. Like the instructions are shoddy. So let me explain what I mean by that. So, okay, here is block one. It goes here. It's from here to here, this little block inside the border. That's block one. And so, for example, with the different elements, the instructions might say like layer 3 fabrics and cut the square and cut 3 squares at 4.5 inches. And then you use those 4.5 inch squares to build a section, right? So in theory, you know the size of the original pieces you cut, but then it doesn't tell you the finished dimensions of what each section within the block is supposed to be. So when you're doing like half square triangles and flying geese that usually need to be trimmed down, you're just playing a guessing game, basically. What these look like. So for example, this section right here, see there's like half square triangle, half square triangle, half square triangle. It doesn't tell you what those squares are supposed to be cut to after you trim them. You just got to figure that out. So there's a lot of math involved. It's a little bit of a guessing game. Also, there's one piece in here where it just completely forgets to tell you to cut out. Like you go to assemble the block and you're like, why is there nothing in this corner? It's because the instructions didn't tell you to cut that piece out. So thank you for that. And then the other thing is like, okay, so this is a wonky star in the middle here, surrounded by, like, there's a 9-patch center block, and then you have a wonky star around it. The instructions basically just say, make a wonky star. But if you don't know how to make a wonky star, you're going to be up a creek without a paddle, because it doesn't tell you. Fortunately, we live in the YouTube era, so there's a tutorial for absolutely everything online. But in the 90s, this says 98, when this was made, I don't know how Mom figured this out, because I was reading these instructions going like, excuse me, what? What do you mean? I need more info. Regardless, I eventually figured it out. You may recall that I am not using Christmas prints to make this quilt. I'm doing entirely brights, like obnoxiously loud prints, Tulas, Cates, Anna Maria Horners, Ruby Star, just a bunch of like really bright prints. And I'm kind of doing a little bit of an I Spy element with my fussy cutting in terms of the smaller pieces. And I got the first block done. And here's the block. Here it is. all sorted. So let's bring you in close. So what I mean by kind of like an I Spy element in, like, obviously this guy, he was fussy cut. There's a bunch of, you know, fabrics in here that have little prints on them, right? So you got little mushroom, little flower, safety pin. These are all teacups. We've got, you know, this print right here. It's actually not directional, even though all these bunnies look like they're upside down. Like, you can see this one's right side up. It's just that this particular half square triangle has them all facing that way, and I didn't notice it. Like, I could have flipped it, right? I didn't notice it until it was already sewn on. So just upside down bunnies. We got some faces. We got flowers, some little skulls. Here's some more mushrooms and stars. This was the piece that the instructions didn't tell you to cut out. So you just had to kind of figure that one out. And here's the whole block. It's a pretty big block, right? I think it's like 16.5 inches unfinished. 16 inches finished. So I might try and keep up with this kind of like a block of the month, like the way it was originally planned, to do one of these a month. I think that'd be kind of cool. And we'll see kind of what happens. I made no plans in terms of color placement. I'm just kind of pulled randomly, you know, to make it look scrappy happy. And I think it does. So once these are all assembled and put together, it'll look like a bright, loud, scrappy quilt. And that's the vibe I was going for. That's exactly what I wanted when I say I wanted to do a sampler with like bright, loud prints. I really just wanted it to be a scrappy looking quilt, scrappy looking sampler with the volume dialed up to 10 in terms of color, right? That's what I was going for. I hope that comes across with this piece here. The next whip that I worked on is this one here. This is called Bauhaus by Zen Chic, and you can see it behind me on the design wall. I am using the geometric prints from Tula Pink's line Everglow, her newest line to be released. And I have to give a big thank you to Amy from Fiber Arts Amy for recommending that I use them. And then the black is, or the darker print is a color called washed black. It's not just like a solid pure black. It's more of a faded black. In person, it almost looks navy, but if you hold it up to like a pure black and you hold it up to a navy, it's something in between. So this is where I'm at now. I have done half of it. So there's 16 blocks total, and I've gotten 8 done. And again, I'm just kind of pulling randomly to, like, I'm not pre-planning which colors are going where. I'm just figuring it out as I go, and so far so good. Here, let me kind of tilt you up a little bit. So there's the top. There's the bottom. Yeah, you can kind of see. And it's super easy. Obviously, there's not a lot of piecing to make these big blocks. The thing that I've really had to figure out with was curved piecing. I had never done curved piecing before, but it's definitely not as hard as I think I built it up to be in my head. I put it off for years and years and years because it looked intimidating. But once you kind of get the hang of it, it's not so bad. Now I'm not so much worried about the way the polka dots are coming across, but I am making sure that whenever I cut the striped fabrics, like that yellow one there, to make sure that the stripes are parallel to the borders of the fabric. Does that make sense? Like, for example, this one in the top corner, I wanted the stripes to either be perfectly horizontal or perfectly vertical, not wonky in any way, shape, or form. So that's the only real care I'm taking with in cutting. This one, this stripy block right here, you can see in the pattern is meant to be just like one color, but I really liked the idea of putting 2 different prints in there just to give it a little bit of extra dimension. This block right here is the only one, yeah, as far as I can tell, that's the only other one that has just 1 print on it. Every other one has 2 or more. No, just 2 of the big colorful prints. So, I mean, it's coming along fast. Honestly, I probably could have kept going. I probably could have even finished all the blocks on this one, but I kind of didn't want to finish it that fast because I was really enjoying it. So I stepped away from it so I would be able to come back to it on another day. So the next time we meet, either that one will be entirely on the design wall or it'll already be pieced together and down. I'm thinking, go with me on this, the actual quilt has this border around it. I'm thinking I might not do that. I might just leave it these blocks. I don't know. Or if I do a border, it's probably just gonna be a thinner one. Like it's not gonna be, I think this one's like an 8-inch border or something like that. I don't want one that big. And then for the back, since it's from the Everglow line, I'm probably gonna get one of her animal prints from the line and use that as, get like either like a 108 or piece it and use one of those as the back. Because obviously those colors match the colors in front, right? So now in terms of which one, that is the question. I think I like the elephant one. I don't know, the lion ones are pretty too, so we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I didn't work anymore on my cocktail hour quilt. I just moved it over here because it no longer fit on my little mini design wall over here. So, but again, it's probably gonna have to come down if Bauhaus is gonna be up there. So I just have a little bit of haul, not too much, and then I'll talk about plans for July and then we'll sign off. So on the 1st, after I finished my floss tube video, I was going fabric shopping as part of my birthday gift from my parents. And I wanted to show you, I just got a couple of things. So I just want to show you what I picked up because it does kind of also play into my plans for next month. So we'll go over that real quick. So first I want to show you a couple of fat quarters. Now these were gifted to me from my mom. She said she purchased them off of an Etsy seller's page, and unbeknownst to her, they were shipped from Poland. And so when she got them, they were not what she expected. Because the texture of the fabric is more, it's almost canvasy. It's not like it's quilter's cotton, but it has a weird texture to it. Like, I don't know if it's treated with something or what, but regardless, I like the fat quarters. So I was like, gimme, you know? And then the other difference is that you can tell based on how they're cut that the patterns are printed, not like screen printed, if that makes, I'll show you in just a second. So she got me a bunch of like mushroom themed fabrics, right? But if you can see up here, like when they're trimmed, there's still like a white border. So how do I explain this? Okay, so here is some fabric that I have, a little mushroom print. This is a traditionally printed fabric. On the selvage, you can see the color key, which shows you every single color that is used to print on this fabric up to a certain amount. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. There's 17 different colors to make this print. And every single color that is screen printed one at a time is here on the side. That is what a traditionally printed fabric will look like. A digitally printed fabric doesn't do that. It's like it, you know, and I think it, and don't quote me on this, but I think it prints on a fabric the way like a printer prints on a piece of paper. Like it just goes across until all side by side till it's done. Like, you know what I mean? It doesn't print in layers. So these, they have salvages, but they're weird. Like it just, I don't know. I don't know what the fabric printing process is like in Poland. I don't know if this person's operating out of their garage. Either way, I got a bunch of Polish fat quarters from Etsy with mushrooms on them as part of my birthday gift. And I'm going to show you them now. So, this is the first one. Little mushies with snails. It's kind of like a fern, kind of foresty sage green. Very cute. This one is the next one. Almost like a collage print. We got moths, we got mushrooms, we got greenery, we've got dragonflies, flowers, snails. In fact, this snail has mushrooms on his shell. That's very cute. And then we've got this one, which is like a darker version of the first one I showed you, right? So the background's darker, kind of gray-brown instead of green. This one's really pretty because of the artwork almost looks like embroidered, you know, like the brush strokes almost look like thread, which is cool. And then this one. This one's cool. Oh, it's upside, well, it's partially upside down. It's got these pretty suns on it, like they're sleeping with all this greenery around it. So yeah, very pretty. Yeah, she was hesitant to give them to me because she was like, it's weird fabric. It's not the kind of fabric I thought I was getting. And I was like, I don't care. I can make, you know, bags out of them or something like that that requires a little bit of structural stability. I can still use them. I want them. So I got them. That was part of my birthday present. And then I also invested in a new rotary cutter, the one that I have two already. One of them's Olfa like this, which I love. The other one is Fiskars, which I hate because it's falling apart. It's kind of cheap. So I got another Olfa rotary cutter, just a 45 millimeter blade. And then I also got, if you've never used flatter or some sort of finishing spray like this, I highly recommend it. It's called a smoothing spray. So when you are ironing your seams, ironing gets them, the idea is to make them more crisp and smooth and flat, right? But an ironing board can only do so much. So when you spray flatter on it and put your iron over that, it kind of steam presses it without actually using the steam setting on your iron. And it smells really good. This one smells like fig is the scent. It comes in this flatter does, it comes in several scents. And it helps it lay even crisper because you've basically steam pressed it flat. I like to use mine in one of these bottles here, which is a continuous mister. Like it helps mist it more evenly over your seam. And then what I'll do is I'll fill like halfway with flatter and then the other half with water. And then refill as needed. So I invested in some more flatter. And then the last thing that I grabbed as part of my birthday haul was a couple of pieces of yardage. So I'm going to insert some pictures to illustrate what I'm talking about. I have decided that I really want to make a one block wonder quilt, which looks like this if you've never seen it before. The way, in theory, a one block wonder quilt is made is 6 identical cuts of fabric are layered on top of each other. They're cut into strips, and then those strips are cut into 60-degree triangles. And then, so when you take a stack of those 6 layer deep triangles and fan them out into a hexagon, you get like a kaleidoscope looking block because you have 6 of the same triangle going all the way around. I've been seeing them a lot on Pinterest and I'm like, all right, they're gorgeous. I want to make one. So I went looking for some fabric to do that with. And you really need to purchase this fabric in person as opposed to online, because you have to, when you're determining how much you need, you have to figure out how far or how big the repeat of the print is. Let me show you what I mean. So the first fabric that I purchased is this one here. Right here. So this is from a line called Island Vacation by Denise Burgett. I think I got like a yard and a half of this, something like that. And we were able to open it up and determine that the repeat of the print, because you need 6 of the repeat, is repeated twice from selvage to selvage, and then 3 times from cut to cut within a yard and a half. So that'll give me 6 total, right? You layer those 6 on top of each other, cut them into strips, and then cut them into 60-degree triangles. So I got a smaller one, right? It's just a yard and a half-ish. To practice, because what I ultimately would like to do is a big one, like an actual quilt, using the next fabric that I got. So this next fabric that I got is beautiful. It's this one here. So this is called Flower Festival 2 by Benartex. Benar, is that how you say it? Benartex Studio. I'm not sure if that's how it's pronounced, but that's how you spell it. And ideally for one block wonder quilts, you really want, it doesn't necessarily have to be a floral, but you want like a big print so that you can get a bunch of different variations on the triangles that you cut out, if that makes sense. So this one, the repeat is much bigger. So I had to get closer to 5 yards of this to get 6 different repeats. Selvage to selvage, there's only 1 repeat, as opposed to the other print where selvage to selvage, there was 2 repeats. So I needed half the cut of fabric because I got double the repeats, selvage to selvage. Am I confusing you? I'm probably confusing you. Please remember that I am sick and medicated, so I'm not firing on all cylinders today, but this will make sense as I make it. I hope. for people who are trying to follow along. Anyways, this one, which is gorgeous, I love these big, beautiful poppies, is gonna be a big quilt, and then the other one is gonna be my practice quilt. So I got all that because let's transition to plans. My plan is to start with the practice on the one block wonder for next time. Then hopefully whatever explanation I tried to lay out here will make more sense. I'm so sorry if it just was like well over your head, because I'm really struggling to string sentences together right now. Additionally, I am going to start another quilt that I have been waiting. I don't know why, but I've been waiting to start. And that's this quilt here. This is called Set Sail by Jaybird Quilts. And I'm going to use this line of fabric right here. This is called Rise by Melody Miller. As far as I'm aware, it is no longer in print because I just waited that long to start this quilt. So, but it's these big, beautiful kind of like Garden of Eden, like snaky floral prints, right? With these really unique colors. Blues and oranges and pinks, and then I got all these complementary fabrics which are called Spark by Ruby Star Society. Every time a designer releases a line of fabric, they usually update the Spark line to include colors that complement the line. So I got a bunch of Spark to match it. And these are the ones I am going to use in this quilt. Again, why did I wait so long? I don't know. I think I purchased this line of fabric like 2 years ago, coming up on 2 years. I don't know. I feel winded. Like I can't breathe through my nose, so I feel winded just talking. All right, that's it. That should be everything, unless I've completely forgotten about something, which is entirely possible. In which case you'll hear about it next video. I'm gonna go take some more cough medicine, take my dog for a walk, and sit on my butt for the rest of the night. I think I've earned it. So thank you. If you've made it all the way to the end, thank you, because this was a train wreck and a half. Normally they're a lot more streamlined than this. But that's life. It is what it is. So until next time, please take care of yourselves. Be healthy, first and foremost. Be safe, be happy. Get lots of crafting and lots of quilting done so that we can share our achievements with each other. And send me all of the like healthy healing vibes so that the next time I'm on camera, I don't sound like a frog. I can form a conscious, like, cohesive thought. And that's it. Okay. I'll see you guys at the end of July. Keep your fingers crossed. Nothing crazy knocks me on my butt before that update, right? And I'll see you guys in a month. Okay. Happy 4th of July to all my American viewers. Happy Tuesday to everyone else. Bye.